Imagine you move from a place where you lived all your life. Imagine you move and you leave all your children and wife. Starting all over again, but no one you know is around. Well, they didn't have to imagine. They built it up from the ground. How does it sound? Not easy because it isn't. Could have praised them, but it didn't. But the Ray Bond, that's a winner. And they ran straight to the finish. You get to know them up close and personal. Wait, just give me a minute. Welcome to the front row. Can I get a drum roll? Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar, but still the best of all. We are intentional.
Welcome to the Intentional Immigrants Podcast. I am so delighted that you're able to join us today. I am your host, Yolanda Jack. Today we will be looking at goal setting for immigrants. Goal setting, tips and tricks. We will be looking at some tips and tricks that will help you on your journey to setting successful goals. Let me ask you, when was the last time you set some goals? Was it your New Year's resolution? Was it a week ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago? Or is it that life got in the way and you got too busy and did not take time and has not taken time in a while to set your goals? We'll be seeking to fix that issue today. I remember when I was going to school, elementary school or primary school that is, in grades 3 to 6, you had to write a story. The title of the story was Myself as a fill in the blank. That space was blank. It was up to you to complete that story and say what you were. I remember my grade 5 teacher, Miss Riley, saying to me, Yolanda, what does it do? What does it feel like? What color is it? You may be wondering, why is Yolanda taking me back to my childhood days? Especially if writing was not my forte. I know as we get older, life and responsibilities get in the way and we no longer dream or write for that matter. Today we will be resurrecting and talking about those dreams that have been buried or might not even be born as yet. What do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you want to be when you grow up? Only one person in all the world will be able to answer this question. Don't look around you. Nobody else will be able to answer this question except you. What would your future look like if you knew you could not fail? What would you do? What would you create? How would you live? What in the uttermost part of your being? What is it that you feel pulled, pressured into creating, doing this one thing? This one thing that you feel you have to do before you're no longer on this earth. Here's my recommendation in order to find out and fine-tune this goal or these goals of yours. Take 10 minutes each day. Yes, turn off the TV, phone, radio, every distraction. In fact, find a quiet place, a quiet room. Bathroom works, outside works, wherever you can be free from distractions. Get a pen, get a little notebook. An old exercise notebook works. I would prefer for you not to write your goals on a loose leaf of paper because you may lose it. Here's the $1 million question that you will be answering. If I didn't have to think about money, what would I do? Write down as many ideas that comes to your mind. In fact, let's put a little competition to this. Set a timer for 2 minutes and just write everything and anything that comes to your mind. Nobody cares about spelling at this point. Just write. WRITE. Once you have some suggestions on paper, let's go back to our elementary primary school experience. Spend 5 minutes writing your story. Myself as a teacher, actor, nurse, whatever it is, you are the author, designer, sculptor of your own destiny. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What color are you wearing? Where are you? Which building locale are you in? Are you sitting or standing? What objects, furniture, people are around you? What are you doing? What's the activity? Why are you doing this activity? The purpose, the reason. Management gurus tell us that your goals have to be SMART, S-M-A-R-T, not as in people smart. It's an acronym which means S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for realistic, and T time-bound. Let's go through them in sequence. Specific. I had you describe in detail what your goal was. What does it feel like? What's happening around you? The more adjectives and verbs you can add to your story, the more specific it becomes. The more you're able to describe it in full details, not leaving out anything. If you're thinking of buying a car, what make car is it? What year is it? What's the color? How does the interior of the car look? Does it have leather seat? You just describe it in as much detail as possible. If your goal is to buy a house, what will the house look like? Where will it be located? Are you having an apartment? Are you having a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom? Is it a duplex? Is it a single family home? What does it look like? In full details. Measurable. How will you know when you have attained this goal? That's where measurement comes into place, or measuring the goal comes into place. Your goal has to be measurable. If you say you want to attain a house in 5 years, how will you know when you have attained the house? It has to be attainable. So it has to be something that can be realized. You can achieve it. It has to be achievable. So for instance, if you haven't completed your education, if you haven't completed your high school education, what's the possibility that you'll be able to become a doctor, for instance, or a lawyer? So you need to start small. You need to ensure that it's achievable. So yes, you're going towards being a doctor or a lawyer, but you have to look at the steps that you need to reach that goal. You need to get your high school education. You'd have to apply to medical school. You'll probably have to do your MMAT test. That is how you know whether or not your goal is achievable. R is for realistic. Sometimes we get bogged down and we go straight into reality before we dream. But I want you to get the bare bones. You're just dreaming right now. You don't know what might happen, what will happen. You're just dreaming, writing. That's all you're doing. Dream first. That's the bare bones. And then you can put clothes on those dreams. This is where the realistic component comes into place. How will I get this done? How can I get this done? What do I need to do? T is for time bound. When will this happen? Is it going to be a short term, 1 to 3 years? Or is it going to be long term, 5 years or more out? I remember when I used to work with MBA students. These adult learners would come into my office and say, Yolanda, this is gonna take forever. I can't put my life on hold for this. I would say to them, no, next year this time you will be 1 year in. You would have completed 50% of your program. Or the more mature learners would say, but Yolanda, I'm too old for this. My response would be, no, you're not. We are all getting older anyway. How about being older or becoming older with an MBA instead of without one? What will it do for you? Those are my tips in order to set successful goals. Don't let fear stand in your way. Do your due diligence. Yes, research, check your facts, and then just move. I'm not asking you for an earth-shattering movement. One step in front of the other. Baby steps. Now that you have written down these things, how do you get started? What subjects do you need? Which school offers these subjects? What you can do as well is to break your 1 year calendar down into, of course, we know that it has 12 months. You can break these months into quarters. If a year is too far for you to plan ahead, just plan for the next 3 months. Write what will happen in your life for the next 3 months. What big goal or goals that you need to see after 3 months. Once you've completed your 3 months, you can further break it down monthly. Month 1, month 2, month 3. Once you've done monthly, then you further break it down into weekly for the next 4 weeks. What will you accomplish? How will this help you towards your main goal? We are all getting older anyway. Let's dust off those dreams, aspirations, and get to working on them. Only you can do what you do and do it best. You have been listening to the Intentional Immigrants Podcast. The Intentional Immigrants Podcast is available on Google Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and Podbean. Of course, as usual, I'm going to ask that you like, share, and subscribe. If you know someone who would find these tips useful, go ahead. You have my permission. Share. The more you share, the more you're able to impact someone else's life. And that is making a positive and being intentional about your influence and about the impact you're making. Thank you to Xavier Anderson for providing music. Until next time, I am your host, Yolanda Jack, reminding you, he who watches the wind will not sow. He who watches the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4. You were born for greatness. Step out into your greatness so that mankind can benefit from you being here. So long, until next time.
We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar, but still the best of all.